Welcome back to Across the Glass Sea. This is a live play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons podcast, and I am your Dungeon Master, Nathaniel Miller. I'm joined, not live in studio, but across the great distances of the internet, by...
Ben Gilbreth playing Tamarian Shopaholic Narcile.
Yes.
I think I bought one thing.
Does it count? Can you be a shopaholic if you just bought one thing? I don't know.
It was the right thing.
Depends on the price of it, huh?
That's very true.
We're also joined by...
Michael Mazul playing Lichen Mule.
Nice. Yeah, y'all, it is so good to be back. Been a little while since
It has been a long time.
adventured together. And yeah, this is fun. So I'm excited to be here with y'all. How about I hit you with a recap?
Yes, please.
All right. Last time in Tyroa, our heroes were confronted in the dungeons of Hermida on their rescue mission by a flame elemental which was set to guard the magical mirrors that served as the Admiralty prison there. After you battled this fiery creature, the adventurers freed 3 from their reflective prisons. A dwarf named Kevel, a cloud elf named Orden Arenath, and the halfling Captain Barnaby Thistlecourt, the right-hand man of Admiral Cassian. You all fled through the sewers and returned to Wayfinder, only to find that the harbor was in a state of alarm. The authorities seemed to be searching for fugitives, but they didn't know exactly that your ship was the one that they were looking for. Captain Lichen made the decision to run the blockade, and you all dodged arrows and catapults until you made the open ocean.
Except for that one boulder.
Except for one boulder.
That one really scary boulder.
Almost wrecked us.
Big rock. You all decided to make way for Fort Martalian, which is sort of the home base of Lady Cassian and the soldiers and sailors that are loyal to her. But on the way, you guys talked to your various shipmates and guests, learned more about some of their motivations and goals, and you also happened to run into a ship called the Gilded Lady, a floating, ramshackle magical merchant where you did some much-earned shopping. As you guys have paid for your items and have returned to your ship, you see Demario waving you farewell and the Gilded Lady sailing away. Who knows what else awaits you guys across the glass sea?
So was that like normal? Do things like this happen a lot on the ocean?
No, it's once in a lifetime to find the Gilded Lady. That was amazing.
Oh, I mean, it was a great play. Oh, so that's...
I mean, look at the armor you just got.
That's what I'm asking. So finding stuff of this quality is not just to be expected.
No, not at all. And I mean, like I'm excited because if we could ever find somebody who could, find locations or something. He said now that we find it, we can find it again.
Well, that's good customer service, I suppose.
I know. I want to know what he has under the deck. We only.
Oh, that's right.
We only barely got in the front door there.
And so, if we've got this, didn't Duplass say something about a floating vault that may have more stuff? But that would require. What did Kevel call it? Alternative negotiations.
Yeah, that's Duplass. Let's be honest, that's me a little bit too.
I was just making sure. I mean, but somewhat of a reminder that this is what we could buy. There's also stuff like this that's just out there.
I mean, the vault. What are we doing? Like what's our current objective right now? Right, because we got them out of Dodge, which is what we needed to do. But now we're going to go drop them off, but there's this vault that we know where it is right now, and it might not be there much longer.
Yeah, well, then there's a governor with some weird worm stuck in his head that we could go back and deal with. We've got a lot of potential things to do, for sure. And we're not even back to Martalian yet, if I'm honest. Something may pop up there as well. Have you ever been to this place? This Martalian? Fort Martalian?
Would I have ever been to Fort Martalian, DM?
No. You, or would Lichen have ever been to an Admiralty fort that doesn't really have any other purpose than to sort of just, like, be a bastion for the Admiralty and sort of watch over and keep order of the surrounding.
Nope.
But you know where it is. You're familiar with it. You're like, oh yeah, there's there's an outpost there. You've made sure to avoid that area. You know that Fort Martalian is the southernmost sizable island in an island chain called the Stormwatch Islands. Actually, the city of Hermida is on the largest island in that island chain. But it's kind of like the northern end. So Hermida and the island it's on is pretty big. It's like the size of like in our modern day world, a New Zealand kind of sized island. And then going down, the island chain gets smaller and smaller until there's this island that it's on. And it's really warm. So this like Mediterranean climate in the north of the island changed down to like it's tropical where Fort Martalian is. So white sands, palm trees, all that kind of stuff. It kind of is the main Admiralty presence in this island chain. It's also, that it's the westernmost outpost of the Admiralty. Beyond Fort Martalian, there's really not much. There's an ocean that's not called the Glass Sea. Once you get past that, it's called the Sea of Storms, and it stretches on forever as far as you're aware of.
No, I've never been to Fort Martalian. No. I mean, Duplass.
Yes. Oui, mon capitaine.
Have you... I don't hate that. Have you ever been to Fort Martalian?
No, I have not been to this place.
Exactly. It
seems like a place where either you have to be a sailor to go to, or you get captured and brought and thrown in jail there. And I'm not a cop, and I also have not been thrown in jail because I'm really good at what I do.
Well, didn't we find you in a sort of a jail?
Well, that was a one-time sort of thing. They were really good. Well, brainworms don't count, okay? I'm not caught by the Admiralties. That's the important.
Oh, okay. Well, neither have I. Or
Brainworms,
Lichen.
different matter.
Why didn't they brainworm you?
I don't know. Maybe they were planning to, but you gallantly disrupted their plans.
So where's this ship safe you were talking about exactly?
Well, I know the general area, and I have some means by which we might be able to locate it when we decide to go there. I know that it maintains a fairly regular patrol pattern, so that the Admiralty can find it if they need to. So if you are worried about it disappearing from where it is currently, I would not be concerned with that. So I'm sure we will be able to find it in the future.
Where's the rough location right now of it in regard to Fort Martalian?
It is roughly halfway between the Admiralty homeland and the Middle Islands. These places. It's a number of weeks' journey to the east of where you all are. It's not that close. Fort Martalian's like another day or two out. The vault ship's location that he's aware of is like kind of in the open ocean between several different Admiralty strongholds.
He knows the route generally.
Yeah, he knows the general area and the general route. So he's like, if we go there and look for it, we'll eventually be able to find it.
Well, part of the reason I've been asking this and just thinking, it may be wise for us to have an idea of what we maybe would like to do next. Because in my experience with the army and, commanders and things of that sort, is you come back, you do a good job, they say, good job, here's another job. And we're not exactly under Lady Cassian's command, and she has seemed to be rather straightforward and appreciative. That's not to say that we don't get voluntold to do something else. And I'm not opposed to that per se, but we're 50-50 when it comes to pleasant Admiralty negotiations. We got attacked by skeletons by one group, we've got another one that we've busted out of a prison, and then I'm not even counting the governor we think he's got worms in his head. So I'm not holding my breath when it comes to just, we get to this place and they're like, oh, carry on.
Oh, yeah, let's be very clear. I'm not looking to try to be a watchdog for the Admiralty by any means. My only dog in this fight, if you will, is trying to make sure all-out sea warfare doesn't break out right now. And if I'm being honest, it's steeped in a little bit of selfishness, sure.
Bergen pipes up and he says, "And we're going to find me cauldron, right?"
Yes, of course.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Yes, of
we
course.
haven't forgotten that. Of course.
He's holding his new cauldron to his chest that he just bought at the Gilded Lady, and he's like nodding, like very seriously.
We need to find wherever this guy is.
This one's quite good. This one's quite good, and I'm very thankful for it. But I do miss my old one.
Do you think someone would have reason to leave a city with a cauldron that they stole from somebody else?
Yes, they don't want the person whose cauldron it was to get it back. They're fleeing out of fear that they've done wrong. They know they've done wrong, and they don't want to be brought to justice. If I stole a cauldron, I would do the exact same thing.
Well,
Although I would never do that because what a horrible thing to do.
Well, I'm sure that justice will come swiftly for them. Perhaps.
Hang on, real quick. Bergen, are you saying you don't like stealing of any kind? Are you against? Just so I know.
Well, no. Well, he stammers a little bit.
Stealing cooking tools. Cooking tools, maybe? That's what you're against?
Would you steal a man's beloved prize possession if it was all that he had? You know, perhaps he had a special pet bird or some sort of his one favorite dagger, and that was all he had. He didn't, you know, you could take all of his gold, you could take, but he didn't want you to take that one thing. Would you still take that man's one thing?
Lichen just stays quiet.
Yeah, well, okay, you know, you're the captain, whatever.
We'll get it back.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll get it back.
Lycan's having a deep philosophical discussion in his
Just
own
saying,
head.
this cauldron was deeper. Was not it? I mean, it wasn't just about the cauldron. It was my identity. And he just like stares off at the waves.
I think Tam is a little befuddled by that because, but Bergen, I mean, your cauldron's just it helps you do what you do. You're the best cook I've ever seen, with or without your cauldron.
He says, "You don't understand," and he goes below decks.
Apparently, I don't. I look at like, did I say something wrong again?
No, this is the most I've ever gotten to know Bergen, and I both go in between loving it and like being a little creeped out by it.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Yeah, and when he says it while he's holding his like fillet knife and cleaver, it's a little scary.
Well,
Not
that's
like
what
a
I'm saying.
lot,
So,
but it's like I'm like, what happened to you?
so let's say we find this guy that, you know, admittedly we have beef with as well. What are we gonna have to like hold Bergen back? What's gonna happen there?
I kind of don't want to. I kind of want to see what's gonna happen.
Let him loose. That's
Yeah.
that I don't know. That's gonna. I'm gonna be quick with calm emotions when we get close on that one.
I mean, yeah, I think that's fine, but like, aren't you a little curious? Just a little bit.
I think the term might be morbidly curious,
That's
cautiously curious. Maybe not more. Maybe morbid's a bit too much.
fair. So if we're both on the same plan of not really wanting to be working for the Admiralty, even if this Admiralty is quote unquote the better ones or good ones, which seems like it, but it's still a lot of things happen behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So should we just kind of drop them off, see if we could get, you know, resupplied while we're there, maybe spend one day and then head out towards this vault? Because the vault's tempting for a lot of different reasons, but I think also it could be good just to see what they're keeping under lock and key. I mean, if we're talking about prepping for war and dominion and control over islands and the sea, what they have under lock and key might very well be something that we need to get our eyes on.
That's true. I mean, that, you know, I was speaking with Sel, and now that we've, you know, met with Lady Cassian and she's kind of given over this ring that the ambassador had, we've got the key and the lock for some of these strange, deathless warriors. I think part of it is that we've got to, when I say we, I mean the Kingdom of the Wood. We're more committed to keeping, and I think you've said this as well, keeping the Admiralty from running the whole show. A balance of power is what we're after. And it may be that when we speak to some of these Admiralty folks, they're more amenable to a balance of power, or it may be that we have to go elsewhere and create a balance versus hoping that it comes about. But I agree, it may be that there's more of these, weapons of war or things that they think will give them an edge, or that others may have decided that it's not the best thing for somebody to have. Maybe there's things that need destroying. Honestly, I've been tempted many times to just drop this ring over the side and let nobody have it, but the more I talk to you and the more I learn about things that live in the ocean, like Crobbert, I don't think the ocean.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, just you're an example, Crobbert.
What? How can I serve you, sir?
Crobbert, what would you do if you were in possession of a ring that gave you control over a fleet and sailors that you could only ever imagine? What would you do with something like that?
Sounds like an
I would
interview
ensure
question.
that revenues and financial dealings were done with fairness and with the greatest movement towards prosperity and economic growth.
Crobbert, what would you say is your greatest weakness?
Well, sometimes I have trouble expressing my emotions.
All right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
It has been marked as a weakness in several performance reviews.
Crobbert, I don't always do a good job of keeping track of my money. Would you mind overseeing that from time to time for me?
His little mouth just opens, and he's like, "Sir, it would be the greatest honor of my life to take possession and responsibility for the financial health of your accounts." And he's like, brings a claw up and sheds a tear from his eye. Yeah, he would be happy to. Would you like me to make some investments with your resources?
Yeah, I'd love that. In fact, I didn't realize you'd. Well, I did realize you'd get this excited, but why not? Why not instead of my personal accounts? Because it's easy to keep a certain purse on me. I think it might be helpful if you actually hold the accounts for the ship. Make sure that we have enough to
yes, of course,
to take care of the ship when we dock, to get supplies, things like that. So instead of just me,
a joint venture.
Yeah, why don't you run the accounts for the whole ship? I think that might.
I would be
you
happy
well.
to do so, sir. You can count on me. Financial acuity is my middle name, and he salutes you with his claw.
Okay. And now back to what you were saying, Tam. I agree with you. I think the only reason we're holding on to this ring a little bit right now is just so we kind of know where it is.
Yep.
And I'm hesitant just to throw it off the side of the ship.
Where are you guys having this conversation?
Probably on the deck.
That's a
On the
scary
deck.
question. Yep.
Roll perception for me.
Oh, good. It's been so long. What do I add to that? I got an 11.
19.
There it is.
Oh, yeah,
There
19.
it is.
With a 19 Lichen, you notice that the cloud elf is listening intently to your conversation and seems to be taking notes.
I stop talking mid-sentence with Tam, and hey, Tam, come a little closer for a second.
Yes, sir.
That cloud elf has been listening to us pretty intently. I know you don't have the best track record with him, but I think he's pretty interested in what we were just talking about. We should have taken this to the captain's quarters, and that's on me. But maybe keep an eye on him moving forward.
Well, he gave us a fake name when we busted him out of prison, and he and Thistlecourt seem to have some kind of understanding. I was under the impression he's somewhat of an ambassador or an emissary, much like we were.
We're the Cloud Elves, right?
Yeah.
You know more about the different factions and Cloud Elves and things than I do by any means. What are the Cloud Elves' goals? Like, why do they even need an emissary? Like what are they trying to do or have a hand in?
Well, you hear things. The stereotype is that they're all hoity-toity up in their floating cities because they think they're better than everybody. So honestly, for them to have come down to seem to be taking an interest is unusual. in and of itself. We found him in jail, right? So the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Make a history check, or history check, either one of you.
Have we been given the ring, or does
You have the ring.
Yeah, I
We
have
do have
the
it?
ring.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
history is a big old 4.
Okay. Yeah, those cloud elves, they live up in the clouds. They must be arrogant. They sure have been around a while, but, how could they relate to what y'all are doing?
And honestly, Captain, based on what we've talked about, as I think about it, I don't think we've said anything we shouldn't have said, anything he would report back, because I haven't listed out this phrase about these things. They might not have known what the existence was. But also, DM, as I think about it, the cloud elves were the one fighting the dwarves in those history recordings. So Captain, as I think about that, there's a chance that he may have already known some of this stuff.
But I don't think a lot of people know where the ring actually was, right? They were looking for it.
I'm not going to let him have it, and so I think if we go our separate ways after this, I can't see anything that we've said or done giving him an advantage over what he had before we got him out of jail. If anything, he owes us.
Yeah, well, let's hope cloud elves are honorable, because I know I'm not.
You've got your own set of rules, as it were, and they're a bit strange to me, but
Your own code.
Yeah.
they're more like guidelines than actual rules.
All right, so you think we drop them off, spend a night, and then head out?
It's fine with me. I'm up for kind of rolling with the punches, and
Yeah, I don't. And here's the thing. Duplass might agree with me wherever he's at, but I don't think anyone's gonna recognize us. But if they do, we probably don't want to hang out for too terribly long.
I doubt they recognize me, but yeah, it's fine. The way that Lady Cassian has talked about this place, it sounds like she's kind of the head honcho. So I would imagine if we've got her favor, nobody's going to bother us. There might be spies or something, but
Yeah. The impression that you get from talking to Admiral Cassian is like, this is her base. Like, this is her spot. So as long as that's still the case, she hasn't been there in a while. As long as the people there are still loyal to her, y'all don't have anything to worry about.
So I guess I'll get an executive pardon then. That's awesome.
I was actually thinking about that. Maybe we could get, a note of piracy or whatever, get a jail-free card. It seems like the Admiralty doesn't always play nicely with each other.
Can you do that? Can you get a certificate saying legally I'm allowed to pirate? That's a thing?
I don't know.
Make a history check, either one of you.
Well, I was just going to say that based on, you've got orders, and if the person that you got orders from is superior to the person trying to stop you, you win. You can say, yeah, the general sent me, get out of the way, Mr. Colonel. Even though I would never dream of saying that to a colonel just on my own. Well, I have once, and that's another story. But, if you've got permission, your permission beats their status.
That's true. I only got a 12.
That's still enough. This is, I think, for you would be fairly common knowledge. There are basically two ways to do piracy. One is you go it alone, and that's what you're used to, and that's kind of what you like, because you like people not telling you what to do. But you've known people who, in times of conflicts between some of the great countries and nations, that those navies have essentially issued letters of marque to captains and crews that basically says, hey, we are giving you legal authority to pirate from our enemies' ships as much as you want. You have mixed feelings about it. You're like, well, it's kind of like a good cover. I don't know. I would imagine a lot of pirates have mixed feelings because they're like, this is just another way that they're trying to control us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
I want us to be Sir Francis Drake so badly. a notable dwarven pirate.
Yes, a notable dwarven privateer who went on a lot of adventures. How does Lichen feel about that? About the idea of having some kind of quasi-official sanction or permission to be a pirate?
I think Lichen doesn't trust anyone ever, and I think part of that also definitely goes with the Admiralty. Like if it's a note that says, "Hey, I'm working for the Admiralty. I'm allowed to do this." Yeah, that's just 100% no go.
So I will say, also historically, you're aware that the Admiralty has basically never done this before. Like they're one of the only countries that don't give out these letters. But the Kingdom of the Wood has done it. The Reuna Federation, that Saburo, your friend from earlier, they do it. There's another empire on the sort of east coast of Urashima called the Gorian Empire. They've done it. You're familiar with other countries on other continents. Most of them participate in the practice. The Admiralty does not.
I think the only way Lichen would come around to it at all, and it's because he's becoming better friends with Tam, is just if it was a note that gave me specific allegiance to a singularity person, then maybe we could make that work. But if it's like, oh, Lady Cassian underneath all of the Admiralty, it's like, no, I'll do it under you specifically, and that's about it. So
you'll be somebody's right-hand man, but not a group's.
Yeah,
Okay.
because in my mind, in Lycan's mind, it's like, I don't want to be underneath all of the Admiralty, but I will be under Lady Cassian, General of the Admiralty, or whatever her station is, you know? Like, I'll do that, but I don't want it to be like anyone in the Admiralty with some stars and stripes on them could be like, hey, go do this.
Are y'all continuing your journey towards Martalian? Y'all want to talk to more people on the ship?
I think we're definitely going to go to Fort Martalian just to drop them off at the very least.
I think
Sweet.
maybe have a conversation with Lady Cassian about what to expect when we get there.
Sel also mentioned to you in one of your conversations that she is planning on finding a ship back to the Kingdom of the Wood, and you know that she could find passage on. There are merchant ships that come to basically offload, sell supplies to the base there, and you know she could find passage on a ship at Fort Martalian. She's communicated to you she's planning on leaving the ship there. Is there other conversations on the ship you want to have?
I'm good. I think we're heading towards Fort Martalian, but Tam, do you want to talk to Lady Cassian?
I think, yeah, maybe to have a bit of an understanding about what we're going to do when we get there.
Cool. You still have about like 2 days before you get there.
Yeah, just over the course of those 2 days to kind of talk with Lady Cassian and figure out what her expectation is when she gets there. If she has any, not offering us as like, well, hey, what, is there anything else you need doing? But at the same time, talking to her and getting her take on how we might continue this balance of power. Tam is very quick to make sure that she understands he doesn't want war, but he wants groups to have autonomy. And if if you're, as long as your autonomy doesn't get on my autonomy, we're good.
Let's do this. Someone roll an encounter check for me. Roll a d20.
D20. 7.
Yeah, so you guys head out from the sort of location that you encountered the Gilded Lady, and you're able to get another night's rest. And then you start picking up sort of off the right-hand side of the boat. You start seeing shallows and islands. I mean, you know that you're kind of like in the midst or off the edge of the Stormwatch Island chain that Fort Martalian is in the midst of. And you know you're about like a half day out. Make some perception checks for me.
Based on sight.
Oops.
Based on sight. The air is warm. The water is blue, and as it gets shallower, it becomes clear. You see shoals of colorful fish. You see coral reefs. It is a beautiful place that you find yourselves in.
I got a 10.
I got a 10.
Nice.
10. Nice. With a 10, you see...
so a 20 together. I mean...
10 plus 10.
By our powers combined.
If only that's how it worked. You notice the crew... This is like really nice weather. The crew is like sunning themselves. Bergen has a few lines in the water trying to catch some of the fish for some fish fry that he's planning later. He's been talking to you guys about it. This is the most excited he's been about cooking in a few days. And because of that, you notice out of the corner of your eye, you don't notice the details of it. You see some shapes floating in the water.
Can we say I've been in the rigging?
Yeah.
So catching something, I'll call down. Captain, debris in the water ahead.
Debris? What's
Debris.
it? What's
Debris.
it look like?
I'm not sure if the mic messed that up. I couldn't tell if you were making a joke about cheese.
Brie?
Is there cheese in the water? That would go great with our fish dinner.
No, sorry, Bergen. Debris, flotsam, jetsam. Those are words. I don't. It just.
Is it edible?
I doubt it.
It looks like wood. Like as you get closer,
I say that.
perhaps like the wreckage of a ship.
Looks like wreckage, sir.
Does it look like worth checking out or anything? Looks
Do
like
I
some holes down there.
Do I see any survivors or any evidence of? With my, I would probably make any of this with disadvantage because I'm very much a ocean newbie. But does any of it look like evidence of a battle or any bodies or anything, or does it just
make
look
an
like...
investigation check? For
Okay,
me.
so yeah, I'll do disadvantage. Oh, okay, 11. Rolled a 10 and a 17.
You're not sure. I mean, you're not sure. You're not sure if it could have been caused by weather. It could have like this ship is wrecked. Something happened. And it could have been caused by weather. It could have been caused by. I'll say it doesn't look like a ship rammed them or they shot a catapult at them and like broke them up that way. It looks like either wind and waves, or they ran aground or broke up on some rocks, or perhaps even that some sort of other natural force or magical force did this.
Captain, your guess is as good as mine. I don't see any bodies or anything. I shout down.
All right, hold the ship, and I'll take off my coat, and I'll dive in the water and start swimming.
Yeah, you swim over to the wreckage. Make another perception check for me.
12.
With a 12, you see that the ship has been broken into actually a lot of small pieces. You're kind of like surprised. This ship must have been about the size of like basically halfway between Wayfinder and the big frigate that y'all were like running from earlier. But it is in a lot of pieces. You see bodies, mostly skeletons. But there's something strange, which is you feel like the ship, the wood is not as rotted as it would be for all of these bodies to decompose on their own. Does that make sense? Like this ship the wood is not as rotted as you would expect for skeletons at this stage. Like all the flesh has gone from them. They're just bones.
Okay, is it reminiscent at all of like the necromancy ships and stuff we've seen in the past?
You're not quite sure. You can get closer and check it out if you want. I'll say none of the skeletons are moving.
I'll try to yell back to Tam. It's just skeletons over here. It kind of feels like that ship we saw when we got shipwrecked for my 4th time.
I thought it was just 3.
Should I check it out more, or?
Well, the only thing is you'll be by yourself down there.
I dive under.
Oh, that answers that then. As soon as he dives under, Tam kind of rolls his eyes and descends and goes to find Lady Cassian to ask if she has any insight as to what this might be. Like, are there dangerous shoals around here? Are there any...
Yeah.
Is she like, oh no, a busted ship. That means Jeffrey's loose.
Yeah, we'll do Lichen first. I'll say the 2 things you're able to find out by swimming closer, like in and among the wreckage. One is this definitely was an Admiralty ship. You see the banner. You see their flags. It actually has the insignia of Lady Cassian's fleet. The Western Fleet is the fleet that she's in command of, and it is a ship that belonged to that group. The second thing that you notice is that the wood, as you get closer, you're like, it's almost like this wood was burned away by acid or dissolved by acid.
Okay. Can I search the wreckage for anything usable, or, what happened here at all, or,
It looks like acid has really gone through this ship. I mean, the reason it's in so many pieces is someone or something put a lot of acid into and on this ship, and it's dissolved most of the rigging, most of the sails. There's some wood left, and while you're doing that, Tam goes below decks to find Lady Cassian, and she looks up she's been looking at a map when you walk in, and she says, "Oh, Tamarian, is there anything I can do to help? I know we're getting close to Fort Martalian."
That's exactly why you could help. We've come upon some wreckage and the captain's investigating on his own. But is there anything that you know of that would cause a ship to go down in these waters?
Well, these are named the Stormwatch Islands for a reason. There are very dangerous storms that can hit from time to time. But besides Fort Martalian, it is also sort of a wild place. There are many dangerous creatures and monsters that lurk amongst the shoals, and every so often, a real sea monster might come in from the Sea of Storms, which is an even more wild place beyond. So there's a lot of things that it could be.
Would you maybe come up and take a look with us on deck, if you please?
Yes, of course. Yeah, she comes up on deck, and she takes a look, and she says, Oh dear, I recognize that ship. She says that it is called the Faithful Sentry was the name of it. It was one of her ships, but she's not sure. She doesn't know. Just from this distance, she doesn't know anything more than that.
Well, we can let the captain know when he comes back.
I think right then I start pulling up on the side.
As you are climbing up on the decking, you feel a current beneath you, as if something quite large has swum fairly close to you underneath you.
Can I see, looking down, can I see anything?
You see a dark shape, and it flits under the deck, under the ship, and then you hear a crash of water as something large bursts through the ocean surface on the other side, and you hear a sort of croaking roar, and you turn, and flapping two large wings, you see a long reptilian form, two leathery wings beating against the air. You know immediately, Lichen, what it is. This is called a draken. It is a dragon-like creature, essentially like a lesser dragon, like a wyvern or something like that, but it's aquatic.
Sick.
It roars and beats his wings, and it's going to be initiative.
Hachiman's pants. What is this? 11 for Tam.
All right.
15.
And roll for Vincent. That's a 1 for Vincent on initiative.
So glad I have my social interaction spells prepared.
But because you guys did some searching and asking, you are not surprised.
Yay!
With your poor perceptions, I was going to have you guys be surprised, but you guys did a little bit of extra exploring that made it not bad. Yeah, so Lady Cassian sees it, and she's like, "That's what did it! That's what did it!" And she runs back below decks to hide.
Okay.
And because she doesn't have any weapons or anything on her, so she's just taking cover. And top of the order, it is Bergen's turn. He got an 18 on his initiative, and he is going to he's on deck, like preparing his fish fry, and he's right in the midst of chopping up some
Bergen,
fish.
hide the fish! Hide the fish!
And he says, "Oh my goodness, what is that? It would go great in the stew." And he quickly assembles a little like sushi thing, a little sushi roll, and he throws one of them to Lichen and gives Lichen bardic inspiration. And then he is going to cast Bane on this creature. So Bane. So he's going to cast Bane. I was just saying I've built Bergen out a little bit more as a PC type character because y'all have been bringing him along, and so it makes sense for him to be more of a fully fledged member of the party to me. So I've given him a more detailed spell list. So he's going to cast Bane,
all right.
Which is he has to make a charisma saving throw. The dragon does, and if he fails, he has to roll a d4 and subtract that number rolled from all attack rolls or saving throws. It's concentration up to a minute, so it's basically a debuff on this.
Come on, Bane.
Draken. And he fails.
Woohoo!
So he'll be subtracting a d4 from any of his attacks. And then next in the order is Lichen.
Would I have my weapons on me?
I feel like you would swim with stuff.
Well, I got a shiny new glaive.
I would hope you would have dived into an unknown area with some form of weapon on you.
Yeah, you'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
So that this thing is flying in the air about 30 feet off of 30 feet out and like 20 feet above the water from the
So we've got a
just
hovering.
FYI.
So wait,
Yes, this thing has a land speed, a fly speed, and a swim speed.
how far off the decking is it? Did you say?
It's about 20 feet off the deck and 30 feet out from the deck over the water.
Man, because I still don't have any range. I need us to level up so I can change out some stuff. Well, I think I'm just going to up armor of Agathis and
Okay,
try attempt to. I guess I'll just attempt to make it target me.
Okay, how are you going to do that?
I'm gonna take a shot and I'm gonna try to yell at it in Aquian.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, what do you say?
You're not even a dragon. You're not a fish. Why? What are you even doing here?
Make a performance check, I think.
Yeah, sure.
You see Bergen writing these
bullying
down. He's
check.
like, these are great. These are great one-liners for vicious mockery. I'm writing these down for later.
16.
Cool. Yeah.
Charismatic, man.
It just sort of like snarls and like it turns its eye towards you. All right, Tam, you're up.
I'm going to like duck down behind my shield and look over at my captain who's just been jabbering in some unknown language. I take it this thing's bad, yeah?
Yeah. They can do some nasty stuff to our ship.
All right, I'm going to hit it with a guiding bolt. So that is
All right.
does a 16 hit?
That is its AC.
Oh, thank goodness.
So, yeah, you see Tam's radiant beam flies out from him and slams into this thing's torso, and it rears back and screeches.
Ooh, I rolled good. 16, 18 damage.
18 damage. All right. Cool.
And whoever hits it next has advantage on their attack.
Perfect. Are you gonna move at all? Or
I'm gonna
do you have a
kind of
bonus action?
spread out a little bit. Just Tam knows dragons breathe bad things, and so I'm just gonna try to not be near anybody. I'm trying to learn my lesson, both in character and out of character, to stay away from the problem.
Cool. It's this thing's turn now. So he's going to fly right up onto the ship. He's not perched on it. You see this thing actually doesn't have any limbs. It just has wings and a sort of serpentine body that ends in a fin that it uses to like propel itself through the... I mean, it's like a mix between a dragon and a sea snake, if that makes sense to you.
Ooh, yeah.
So he gets right up, sort of curls himself around the prow of the ship, and he's going to use his acid breath.
Oh, yep, see? Knew it.
I think it's just going to be... I think Vincent, Lichen, and Bergen will all get hit by it. You moved out of the way, Tam, so you're able to get out of the way. Make a DC 13 con save.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I only got 11. Does this count as a melee attack or no?
No, this is its breath weapon.
Okay.
So it's 8d6 acid damage.
Oh!
So it's 30 damage,
Okay.
Oh!
halved to 15 for both Bergen and Vincent because they both made it.
Oh my gosh.
It can't do it every turn. Just say that. So that's his turn. Now it is Vincent's turn, and he is going to move at this thing with 2 daggers drawn. He's going to run towards it. But as he goes in, you see the Draken locks its eyes on Vincent, and you see him like stop. And he is going to make a con save,
Oh my gosh.
and he's going to fail. This guy has something called a dissolving gaze. If anyone starts its turn within 30 feet and can see his eyes, the Draken can force it to make a DC 13 con save. On a failed saving throw, this creature takes 1d6 acid damage, and its hit point maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the acid damage, and it's paralyzed until the start of his next turn. So Vincent freezes
gosh.
in place and is paralyzed, and he takes just 1 acid damage. But y'all didn't know this, but now you do. Unless now you know that you can avert your eyes at the cost of you get disadvantage on attack rolls.
And when Lady Cassian ran down below decks, did she said like this is what did it, this is what did it? Would she have given me any inclination like we have got to get out of here or we can fight this? Was there any? Does Tam have any insight, or am I just gonna go run below decks and be like, should we run?
I'll say the guiding bolt hurt it.
Okay.
A good bit. I'll say that.
Because he sees like all of his friends very badly hurt.
Yeah. I'll say it it rolled really good on that breath weapon. Like, that's not...
Regardless, they're very badly hurt.
Right. I'll say another thing, Tam. You can look at its eyes no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that maybe this effect has a range.
Okay. Yeah, like I've been watching it and I don't feel funny.
No.
Okay.
Top of the order is Bergen's turn. He's going to backpedal away a little bit, and then he'll turn around and he's going to cast Shatter on this thing.
Nice.
So, he has to make a con save on Bane, which he passes.
Oh, nice.
So Shatter is a second level spell that is, I believe, 3d8 damage, 3d8 thunder damage, but this thing has to make a con save, which is going to fail. So
Yes.
3d8 thunder damage, 15 damage. You hear this like thunderclap, boom, break out over the prow of the ship, and it damages this guy. So, and Bergen's also going to give Bardic Inspiration to Tam.
Thanks, mate. That'll work.
Now it is Lichen's turn.
Where is its location now?
It's still at the front of the ship. It has not moved at all.
Still 20 feet up. Okay.
No. It is on the ship now. It's like wrapped itself around the prow of the ship.
Okay, then yeah, I'm running straight towards it.
Cool.
I'm shoving Duplass out of the way onto the ground because I don't know. Lichen doesn't know he's paralyzed. Michael does.
Yeah. He's like,
Lichen wants a free shot.
Vincent topples over.
Constitution save.
Yeah, DC 13.
Come on.
And it's a saving throw, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
I have a +3, so dirty 20.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
It has no effect on you.
So I'm gonna run up. I'm gonna take out my pretty new glaive that I haven't used. And it was a +1 or
Yep,
no?
+1.
Okay.
And your bonus necrotic damage will be in effect for this battle. It does a bonus 1d6 necrotic damage against enemies that have blood.
That's awesome. Okay, so come on. 19 on the dice.
Yes.
You also have advantage because of Guiding Bolt.
All right, let's see what crit. Come on. Nope.
No.
But it's glaive, so now. Nope, that's a D12, D10. Here we go. And then I get to add the 6.
Yes.
Oh, it's got blood, all right.
Oh, that's not great. That's only an 8.
That's okay.
Damage
Every
total.
little bit counts. You notice, you see, also make sure you add the 1 both to attack and damage rolls.
Oh, okay, so 9.
9, okay. You see as you cut it, it looks like the glaive almost leaches blood out from the wound. Like as you cut through part of it, it's like sucking some of the blood out. You could almost swear you see some of it absorbed into the blade itself. But you cut through and you do some damage. And is there anything else you want to do on your turn?
I should have done it before, but I forgot. It's fine. But I'm pretty low on health, so I'm going to battle focus now that I've stabbed it.
Cool. So with that, it is Tam's turn.
So I've seen this happen. I am, oh my gosh. Yep, prepped all my social spells. Thanks for that. I'm gonna hit it with Toll the Dead. So it's a wisdom save of 13.
It gets a 15.
Dang it. Oh,
But-
Bane!
That's just a 14.
Dang it.
Unfortunately. So I guess he passes.
So nothing
It
happens.
just got a 1 on the d4. So does that mean it does nothing?
Nothing happens.
Okay. Any bonus actions?
Yeah, I'll do spiritual weapon. Why the heck not? So it pops up and makes a spell attack roll. Next to it, you see a giant ethereal trident appear next to it and stab into it. That's just a 7 plus 12. That misses, I think.
That does miss.
Dang it.
His AC is 16.
Yep, that misses. Tam was
so-
useless.
Now it is the dragon's turn, and he Lichen is right up on him, so he is going to try to bite at you. That is going to miss, and then he's going to whip his tail around to try to like
Ooh, don't forget Bane on those.
pop you from behind. Oh, yes. The first one he really didn't hit.
Don't forget Bane. Please don't forget Bane.
I think the tail one is going to hit. It's over 20, and Bane has only brought it down to a 19.
Yeah, it'll hit.
Okay, sweet. But that's good because the tail one is not. It's only 1d8 damage. So that's just going to be 5 bludgeoning damage, halved to 2, I guess, with the tail attack.
Okay, and he takes 10 damage.
Oh,
Nice,
yeah. Does he make
nice.
a saving throw or anything?
No, it's just the first one to do melee to me.
Nice. Yeah, he does not like that. That's at the end of his turn. He's going to stay in melee with you because he's mad. I'll see if he gets his breath weapon back. He does not. Cell's going to come up from below decks. Good gods, what is happening?
Bad thing, kill it,
She's
kill
going
it.
to pull her bow and she's going to take a shot at him. She's going to hit with her longbow, so that's a d8. It's only 1 on the die, but that's still like 5 damage. Yeah, he's starting to get some wounds. Now it's Vincent's turn. We'll see if he can make his saving throw out of... That's a nat 1.
Oh
again.
no! Oh no!
Hate to see it.
I have such mixed emotions about Vincent.
Yeah.
I don't want him to die. Mostly just because I gotta figure out what's his deal and what's
Yeah,
like.
I think he's going to take another d6 acid damage. It's still just another 1, but he's starting to look kind of rough.
Vincent, what are you doing?
You notice he's not moved. He's like almost like rigid, as if under this effect of like a hold person spell.
He's now on the ground, rigid. He's a statue
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fallen over.
Yes. Top of the order is Bergen's turn. He is going to cast Healing Word on Lichen.
What is his inspiration dice? It's a 6 or an 8.
I think it's still a d6.
Okay, put it right there so I don't.
He gets to do max healing on me if you're rolling dice for this.
Perfect.
So it's a D4 plus his charisma. So it's 4
Which
plus
is-
whatever.
So 7. His Christmas plus 3.
Taking the math out of healing is both a wonderful and terrible thing because
Yeah.
it's fun when you roll high, but also now we don't have to roll. It's just the max all the time. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, my whole premise was if I'm doing barbarian and trying to be up front the whole time, I need to make myself really easy to heal.
You're a healing sponge too.
Yep.
And he is going to, for his action, cast a cantrip. He's going to cast Vicious Mockery on this thing, so it has to make a saving throw against his AC, and that's a nat 1 for him.
Yes.
Bergen says, he looks back at his notepad, and he's like, you're not even a real dragon. Take that. And so he takes a d4, and I believe he gets disadvantage on, I think that's what Vicious Mockery does. He gets disadvantage on his next attack. So that's just 1 psychic damage, because I don't think this creature can speak or understand common, but he can understand the roar of an opponent. And I guess that's what is happening. So, Lichen, you're up.
I'm going to swing away now that I'm right up against him.
Cool.
That is going to be a 14 to hit.
That does not hit, unfortunately.
Dang it. Inspiration.
But don't you have Bardic Inspiration?
Bardic.
I do. Thank you, guys.
I forgot mine a minute ago.
Plus 3, 17.
Yes.
17.
Yes.
Awesome.
Stupid fish.
You see the ghostly silhouette of a sushi roll that has been floating in your periphery says, "We will show no mercy to the enemy." And it flies at the Draken and explodes, and he has to make a con save or take a bonus 3 damage, which he does not. So it'll be 3 extra damage on top of whatever you do.
I love how all of these interactions are opposite of the character. So we have, Krobert is the foil of Lichen, and we have this intense food that is so different than Bergen. Well, we think, at least.
I might say it possibly could match Bergen's culinary attitude.
It would seem more and more that way.
Yes. So he takes 3 thunder damage on top of whatever your hit is.
That's 17 damage.
Yeah.
Nice. So 20 total, or did you add the 3 in already?
And your rage
no,
damage,
hang
too.
on. Well, I added the rage, so I got a 10, a 2, so that should be 12. And then because you add 1 to the damage on the glaive, too.
Yep.
So plus 5 with the rage, 17. So no, I didn't add the 3. So yeah,
So
20
20
total.
damage.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh, did you do your extra D6, too?
What?
Did you do your extra D6 as well? Because
Of
it's got
necrotic
blood?
damage?
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
So you do 20 damage. You find an opening, and it's sort of like swaying back and forth, and there's in the joint between its wing and its main body, you jab the glaive in deep and twist it. And this thing roars out in pain. It is looking very hurt now. It went from being kind of hurt to this is Yeah, he's starting to look a little rough.
Even in the battle focus, I'm just like, Bergen, can you make sushi out of this?
Tam, you're up.
Tam is up. I'm going to bonus action spiritual weapon attack. That's a 5 on the dice, so that's not going to work. Not going to waste that. And I am going to use my War God's Blessing and add 10 to that attack roll, so that becomes a 15. And now I'm going to roll my inspiration.
Nice.
It's a 4, so 19 total with all the help I can get.
Yeah. And with the bargain inspiration.
Ooh, I got a 4 on the.
You got a 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so he just needs to make a con save.
Right, and then this is a.
Which he fails. So it'll add 4 bonus damage to whatever you do.
Nice, and then.
For our listeners, the Bergen subclass is a bard of the College of Creation, and essentially, the way his bardic inspiration dies, it does a little bonus thing, bonus effect on any roll, depending on what kind of roll it is.
And for my spiritual trident, it is a D8 plus my. Ooh, so it does 8 radiant damage.
Okay.
With that, and then I'm going to.
Plus the 4.
Yeah, so 12
damage
total. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I will bang on my shield and once again perform Toll the Dead. So he has to do a wisdom save, DC 13.
All right. DC 13 wisdom
With
save.
a Bane! With Bane! There's so much going on!
Bane. I know. I think it's going to fail even without Bane.
Yes!
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he fails that for sure.
Haha! So he takes a D12. Ooh, 11. He takes 11 more damage. Necrotic.
11 more damage. 11 necrotic damage. That's crazy. He is looking very rough.
Yes!
And it's his turn. So he's going to dive off the prow and go underwater. So you'll get an attack of opportunity, Lichen.
Oh, 100%.
Kill it, Captain!
Although I should be making you make a con save if you're looking at him.
Oh, even though I passed it once already?
Yeah, it's every turn. I should have made it you do it at the beginning of your turn, but I forgot.
Oh, you want me to do it right now then?
Yeah.
Yeah. 17 on the dice.
Yep.
Yeah.
You pass. You feel this thing's like steely gaze like piercing into your heart, and then you just tough through it, and you're good. So yeah, make your attack roll.
This is like a straight up attack roll, right?
Mm-hmm. Attack of opportunity.
See how your +1 rage, all that stuff.
It's going to be a 15 to hit?
That just misses. His AC is 16.
That's fun. Okay.
So he's going to swim. He has a 40-foot swim speed, so he swims under the bow and pops up on the other side, right next to Bergen. And he's going to... Well, no, Tam, you did a lot of damage to him. He's going to pop up right next to you. He's going to take his bite attack on you. Still under Bane, but that's going to miss.
Yes!
I mean, a 13...
13 misses.
won't
My
hit,
AC
right?
is
Okay.
19 now that I have my shield.
And then he's going to try to whip you with his tail. And that's also going to miss.
Woohoo!
15 misses.
Yep.
See if he gets his breath weapon back. He does.
Oh, no.
But he won't. He already used his actions for this turn. So, cool. With that, it is Cell's turn. So she's going to pop up more on deck. Because of where he's at, she's within 30 feet. So she is going to try to take a shot at him, but she has to make her con save first. She's going to fail, so she also is paralyzed, and she takes an acid damage. Falls over. It's Vincent's turn. He's going to try to save out of his state. He fails again. It's better this time. It's close. It's a DC 13 to save out of, and he got like an 11.
This is going to be so fun when we're
I was
having
thinking the
initiative.
same thing.
Yeah,
Lichen
yeah.
is going to give him so much grief.
Top of the order is Bergen. He is going to give a dive bardic inspiration to Lichen, because I know that he knows you don't have one anymore. And he is going to... Let's see if there's any other interesting spells he could use. He's just going to cast Aid, which is his last second level spell slot. So basically, Lichen, Tam, and he'll choose Vincent. Y'all will both... y'all all just get 5 hit points, and your hit point maximum increases by 5 while this spell is up.
Sweet.
And that he'll do Vicious Mockery as a bonus action. We are gonna make you into sushi, you eel. And the Draken passes its saving throws, so nothing happens. And with that, it is Lycan's turn.
How far is the other side of the ship?
It's probably about 30 feet.
Yeah, I got that. I run over. I'll make
Sweet.
a Constitution save again.
Yep.
17.
Yes.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah, you make it.
Even more, yes.
Swing away. I think that's gonna miss. Yeah, 14. Oh,
That was a Bardic.
Bardic.
You got a new one.
Bardic. Come on. 6 on the die.
Nice. Yes, you hit him.
So, and this is gonna. Will this add 6 thunder?
He has a saving throw to make. So if he fails a saving throw, which he does not, so it'll have no effect this
No.
time.
Okay.
But still, you can just stab him.
Get the +6. I'm still focused. Get a +1 to it now.
He actually rolled a nat 20 on his saving throw.
Ooh.
So
Oh man, that's a lot.
Get him. Get him.
18.
Yeah.
So if he had the +6 too, that would have been pretty bad.
you don't need the +6.
Yes.
Lichen,
Yes.
how do you finish off this monster?
I think the glaive is just feeling good in Lycan's hands. He's getting used to it again. And this one's just more well balanced than the one he's had for years. And I think it's just a clean shot through its neck, and then almost like just a quick motion that Tam could probably tell is actually trained, and just like a downward S out the throat.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh.
This thing rises for a few seconds and then just collapses, half on the deck, half off. Although you do notice that its blood starts to like hiss as it.
I was
sort of-
about to ask, do we need to kick this thing over the side?
Apparently.
Yeah. Sel and Bergen quickly come over and help you push it off, and it just splashes in the water, and you guys have killed the Draken. There is scoring in the deck, definitely like damage from the acid, but nothing that has, most of the acid is on the top side of the deck, nothing that has like impacted the whole of the ship. You go and you see Vincent is pretty badly like burned by the acid, actually. Like he does not look very good. Rolls over. That was not very fun.
As soon as we kick the thing off to the side, I will begin prayer of healing, which takes 10
Cool.
minutes. Everybody gets 2d8 plus my wisdom, so Lichen gets
Yep,
19.
I'm full up.
And then
That's crazy.
everybody else gets 13.
So you guys catch yourselves. You've defeated this sea monster that seemingly has successfully preyed on ships in this area. And as the dust settles, the waves lap gently against the hull of your ship, and things seem basically just as peaceful as they were before.
So I've got to ask again, is this normal on the ocean?
I think you see Lycan's battle focus drop, and a big smile kind of creeps across his face, and he's just like, I'll talk to you about that in a second. Vincent, what Hey,
Hello.
bud.
Yes, Captain.
What happened? Were you just petrified with fear? You've seen these before, right?
Yes, I have.
What happened?
He's like curled up, because I assume you're having this conversation while Tam's doing the prayer of healing.
Yeah.
I mean, he got like probably 10 hit points of like going down. Did not feel very good. Sometimes you get, and sometimes you get got. You know what I mean?
You just couldn't get one of your daggers going, could you, bud?
That's true. It was very frustrating.
Yeah.
You see, there's like a couple on the deck where he had like had them out, and they're not the same. They're not like a match set. It looks like he's like collected a bunch of different like weird random daggers. It was. I have a headache.
Yeah. I was gonna say fighting's hard, bud. Yeah, I get it.
I think I need to take a nap.
Would my prayer of healing like fix his HP reduction stuff?
Let me double check.
I feel like
that.
Tam immediately went into medic mode.
So essentially, he has to take a long rest.
Okay, but yeah, Tam has done his prayer of healing and has gone into like post-game soccer mom mode. Is everybody all right?
Right.
Does anybody need any water? Orange slices.
I would like a glass of water, please.
All right, here you are.
Post soccer mom.
Could someone help me to my cot?
All right, you're big.
Can I get the orange drink?
You're a big boy. You can get there yourself.
Bergen, can you help me to my cot?
Bergen, don't you help him.
Bergen's like halfway there.
Let him do it himself.
Vincent like just sort of crawls across the deck.
Watch the acid. Watch the acid, Vincent. You got to go around that.
Vincent, you're not that
He
badly
like rolls
hurt.
over.
I know I've healed you. Don't be a baby.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It just I feel bad.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but come on.
He picks himself up and hobbles below decks. Cavill! Cavill, bring me a hot tea. With that, Vincent is gone. And you guys, you're able to heal people up. You take stock of the ship, and you're like, there's definitely some like repairs that could be done, that need to be done, some planks that need to be replaced, but all in all, the ship is still seaworthy, and you think you'll be able to make the fort no problem, especially given that it's so close.
So, Lady Cassian, do we need to be like flying a certain flag, or is there a passphrase or a signal that would help us not be arrested, or are we just gonna put you in the front and wave as we pull in?
I think that should be sufficient. I don't believe that we have a flag that can change colors, unless we do. But there are ships of all stripes, merchant vessels, fishing vessels that come and stop in at Fort Martalian all the time. So it's not like a restricted area, shoot on sight kind of place.
Oh, okay. To be honest, I was a bit concerned.
Yeah, totally understandable. Well, there's actually is a small civilian population that dwells in a village right next to the fort that sort of farms and there's some fishing vessels that support the community, both of the village and the fort itself. In many ways, we've tried to make this area somewhat self-sustaining.
That's a good idea. All right then. So as we're going, what do you think? You're the big boss here, and again, I'm not volunteering us to serve, and the captain would have final say as well. But what do you think is next in a situation like this? If you were to ask a favor, what would it be?
That's a good question. Well, I don't believe that my being outlawed was simply the result of a governor gone mad with mindworms. There are deeper and broader political factions within the Admiralty that desire my destruction.
So you don't think it's the worms?
Perhaps, but I'll say I don't think that they had anything to do with the disruption of the summit. There are other agents who hindered me from getting there, other forces. In particular, you said that you saw a ship crewed by skeletons that attacked the planned meeting place.
Yeah, we barely got out with our lives. The ambassador, in fact, didn't.
If that's the case,
Am I within earshot of this?
I was not trying to take her aside. So it's one of those, if she's on deck and you're on deck, if you think you are, I'd say that you are.
Like you're just walking by covered in acid still and just hears that, and it just adds to the conversation real quick. There's also a pirate king.
Yes, the pirate king has been at odds with the Admiralty and with most organized navies, as far as I'm aware. So he's certainly another player in all of this. I suspect that any of these factions would be very happy to get their hands on the artifact your ambassador and I had planned on, shall we say, working on together.
Right. Okay.
Wink.
Yes. Just wondering because next steps are going to be...
Next steps, I believe, probably will be someone coming to take my head. The forces at work, the Silver Fleet, which is the organization within the Admiralty, the unit within the Admiralty that carried out the attack, it sounds like they're not finished. The Admiral there is set on conquering the entire sea, and he will stop at nothing. And if he thinks that I am a lead on the road to him acquiring leads on the secret weapons that we've discussed, he will bring his fleet here. I think there's civil war in the future, and I think the only way that the balance of power might be kept intact is for me and my fleet to make common cause with other powers in this region, whether that is other admirals who are like-minded, which there are several, or with other powers, such as the Kingdom of the Wood, or other nations such as that. If you wanted to be a player in the unfolding events, I can offer you advice. I'm not asking you to serve in my fleet, I'm not asking you to fight on my side, but just know this, that now that I'm here at Fort Martalian, I will be preparing for war, and there is a good reason for me to try to send out diplomatic feelers to other forces, both inside the Admiralty and without.
Well, I'll trade advice for advice. Lady Solarian had mentioned a need to return home to our kingdom. I think she and I are going to take different paths to support our king. And if you're willing and able, I'm sure she'd be willing to carry a message to the king on your behalf. I'd be willing to chime in with a note or a message as well. I trust Sel with my life. She's seen firsthand the horrors of this Silver Fleet and seen firsthand your opposition to them and the results and the opposition that you've faced as well. So I think that's a low-hanging fruit if there ever was one.
That offer's most welcome, and I will certainly have a conference with Lady Sel before she departs and attempt to make an alliance of that sort. But if I'm being honest, I don't know that it will be enough. The military might is not the only weapon that the Silver Fleet has. They also have necromancers of considerable power. Their arcane power is at least the equal to their military power. And so I believe that they are probably beyond the Kingdom of the Wood. There are a number of other nations that might... I'll put it this way, it is in no one's interest except for the Silver Fleets, for the Silver Fleet to conquer all. So whether it is going to the Minotaur Republic of Ceres, who have long warred against the Admiralty, or the Federation that naval officer represented, or the Goblin Kingdom of Duramar, those would all be places that I would, or perhaps even the Cloud Kingdom that our friend on board represents. Those all represent potential factions whose interests would not be served by this faction within the Admiralty conquering the entire Glass Sea. Perhaps you all have connections to other places, other people who might be interested in sabotaging or attempting to fight against this Lich Admiral. If you wanted to find potential allies within the Admiralty, there are two admirals I can tell you are not as enamored with conquest as some of the other admirals are. These are Lord Admiral Jimena Aguil, who oversees the colonies on the continent of Arasha, which is where the Kingdom of the Wood is located, and the leader of the Northern Fleet, Admiral Jose Garcia, who is based at Fort Justine in the Middle Islands. You actually recognize that name, Lichen. You know that the Northern Fleet is ostensibly the fleet that is supposed to be tasked with sort of monitoring, sometimes attacking the Wandering City, but for about 5 years, ever since this new admiral was put in charge, they've kind of like just not really done anything. Kind of just sat on their boats and their base and not really like tried. They've just been a lot more lax than they ever have been before, put it that way. So that's her spiel. She's essentially saying, long term, it seems like there's going to be a war with at least this faction of the Admiralty. If y'all want to be a part of trying to build an alliance, that would be what she asks of you.
Well, I think the captain and I will definitely talk about this. I know the captain's very much in favor of freedom, and he seems reluctant to serve under a banner of anything other than his own wants and needs. But he's a good man. We can work together, and as I've said before, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes, that is wisdom indeed.
With regard to this arcane powers that they have, I receive my powers from my service to Lord Hachiman, and I use them in his service. Do you have any idea where this Silver Fleet gets their power from?
I do not know, I'm sad to say. I've not had the... I'll say I've tried to keep my distance from them. Typically, unless you are of a like mind with them, you do not last very long in their service. And I don't mean that they transfer you.
Is there no oversight? Do they not? Is there not someone giving them orders?
They are the orders, in some ways. The way that the Admiralty works is that there is what we call the College of Admirals, and theoretically it is a council of admirals where every admiral has an equal say, but in practice there are 5 high admirals, 5 lord admirals that really run the show. 2 of them, the Silver Fleet is their organization.
So 2 of the 5, the Silver Fleet is their gloved fist.
Indeed. There are 2 others who are, shall we say, believe that it is the right of the Admiralty to dominate the sea, although they look down upon underhanded necromantic methods. The final Lord Admiral is the one who I mentioned who is in charge of overseeing the colonies, and she is more of the political persuasion. Let's just say her and I have much in common. So just she's describing, she'll go on to describe, there are basically 3 factions within the Admiralty. There's a group that they call the Silver Fleet, which is the necromancer types that are seeking to control by getting greater necromantic power. And then there's a faction that they call the Conquistadors, who are also seeking control, but they're just like, why use necromancy? That's stupid. Magic is unstable, it's uncertain. The way that we need to do is build up a conventional navy and like do our conquering that way.
Okay.
And then there's like the smallest faction some people look down on, sort of making fun of them, mockingly call them the Peacemongers.
All right then. No, I much appreciate that. Knowing what's going on behind the scenes is a big help. Even, well, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, bit of a lore dump.
Oh no, it's fine. Tam says to the world at large.
Cool.
Let's get you home.
So you guys sail on. You start to see a couple fishing vessels after another couple hours patrolling the area, checking on various fishing spots and trawling for different things. They're all kind of flying a deep blue pennant flag that just marks that their port of origin is Fort Martalian. Lady Cassian points that out to you. And soon you see, rising in the distance, a rocky outcropping built on a larger island than any that you've been passing by. This island is Martalian, and it is about 3 miles long, and its widest is a mile wide. It is warm. There's white sands, palm trees. Over the most of the island, there's thick sort of grass. At the one end with a rocky outcropping, you see carved into and on top of this rocky outcropping a fort. And at the base of the outcropping is a small village surrounded by wooded palisade walls. She points it out and she calls they call that Lee Side. That's the village's name.
That's so cool.
It's about 20 or 30 huts and one tavern. One larger building you can see in the middle of the fort. And there are flags flying. You can see that it has the banner both of Admiralty but also of the Western Fleet, which is the fleet that Lady Cassian is in control of. And you see a number of ships there's like this inlet right at Leaside Village that cuts in, and that's where the ships are docked. There's probably about 5 fishing vessels, and in addition you see 7 Admiralty ships.
Oh, snap.
You see 3 frigates and 3 sloops and one massive man of war. Has golden brass inlaid with the wood. It has multiple catapults on board. It dwarfs the size of everything else. I mean, it is a massive, massive ship. And Lady Cassian points it out and says, "That is my ship. It is called the Resolute."
I was just about to ask if that was yours.
It is a craft of war that not many ships in these waters would be able to stand against.
Tam just looks at her and goes, I can see why not.
But yeah, as you pull into the bay, people can see that Lady Cassian's on the deck with you, and there's a number of sailors that are like waving and actually cheering. Some of them are throwing their hats in the air, and people are like excited that she's there. And you pull up to the dock, and you see a half elf, a human, and another elf that you've never seen an elf like this before. They have bright red hair and very tan skin. Their ears are longer than most normal elves, longer and more pointed, more angular. They're all wearing Admiralty uniforms, and they're waiting for you guys as you dock. As you guys are pulling in, the Cloud Elf, Orden Arenath, motions to Lichen and Tam and asks that he be able to speak to you guys.
After you, Captain.
Yeah. What do you got?
First off, really impressive work that you guys were able to pull off, fighting off that beast. I just have a sense that you all are adventurers who will be of some renown in the future. Very, very impressive. Thank you very much for saving me and delivering me. The thing that I wanted to talk to you about is I wanted to perhaps start to make good on the debt that I owe you for freeing me from that mirror. I don't have much in the way of coin, but I have 2 things that I can give you. The first is influence. If it's true that you all are seeking to fight off parts of the Admiralty, I would be happy to try to plead your case before the Cloud King. Our forces are not what they used to be in ages long past, but our armies are formidable. We have warriors, we have mages, and we do not want the Admiralty to dominate the world either. The second thing that I have for you is information. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a eavesdropper, I'm a bit of a busybody, mostly for my own curiosity. I don't know if you've ever read any of my books. Have you? I've published a number of books.
Not much of a reader myself.
Right, make an insight check.
That's a D12. Let's do this one.
I usually have people read to me, so
Well, I'd be happy to read one of my books to you sometime, Captain, if you'd like. What was that insight check?
21.
He's like sad. He's disappointed.
Rather 23, but still.
He's disappointed. He's like, oh, I thought maybe someone would have read my books. Nonetheless, both of you make a history check.
12.
13.
13? Neither of y'all know who he is or know anything about any of his books. He says, I couldn't help but overhear that you all have come into some sort of artifact that dates back to ancient times. This wouldn't have anything to do with the ancient Sun Dwarf Empire, would it?
What if it did?
Well, I would say that as a scholar and historian, that I might have some knowledge of such things, and in fact, I might have a lead on a place, a location where one might be able to find similar artifacts.
And where, pray tell, might that be?
Off the western coast of Arasha, there is, we call them in the Cloud Elf tongue, Andals, floating islands that are kept aloft by ancient magic, or by ambient natural powers of the weave of magic. There is an ancient fortress on a floating island that was the site of a massive battle between the Cloud Elves and the Sun Dwarfs, and legend says that there are still the remnants, the wreckages of that battle, and those armies that are there. Some even have said that there are automated processes, either magical or clockwork, that still battle against one another to this very day.
What, they're still fighting?
That's what I've heard. It's hard to find. It's a little bit into the Sea of Storms, and so it is not a place for the faint of heart. But because of that, very few expeditions have ever gone there. And so I believe that it is probably very well preserved.
Could you possibly describe where that might be to the captain?
Yes, I will give the coordinates. And if you all decide to go there, not just that, I would also perhaps like to ask if I might travel with you, just in general. I know that I serve as an emissary, and I don't really have a way to get back to the Cloud Kingdom other than taking a ship there, and I might as well be on this ship for a while. Partly, I have a little bit of a selfish nature to my request. You see, as a historian, I have a desire to be in the midst of places where I believe there are going to be events worth writing about. And just on the basis of the adventures of the last few days, I would like to chronicle your adventures.
Can I insight check him?
Yeah.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy, he was really sad when you guys said that you hadn't read any of his books. He seems to really have an earnest desire, an earnest belief that y'all are basically going to be really historically significant figures, and a desire to record that history. And so he says, I can do you better than just telling you where this floating island is. I can take you there and offer my expertise as an expert in ancient languages and ancient civilizations. With your 19 insight, you're like, this guy's a scholar. He's a nerd. You know that he's... I mean, imagine a huge history nerd being present when George Washington first got put in charge of the Continental Army in the Revolutionary War, and being like, I can be here and record everything that's going to happen. That's kind of like this guy's vibe.
So you're asking to join our crew?
Yes, indeed.
I'll need to talk things over with my first mate a little bit.
Of course, exercise whatever due diligence you require. I will await your verdict.
You've given us 2 different names. These books you've written, what's the name of the book and who wrote it?
So you would probably... you would be able to find in almost any library of renown the Nimbus Chronicle, which is the name that I gave you. I'm not very creative, which is why I'm a historian, not a novel writer. My true name is indeed Orden Aeronath.
Fair enough. That goes away to earning some trust again.
Yeah, make another history check, Tam. I guess Lichen, you probably wouldn't have had access to many libraries, but I think that you
13.
would have. With the name Nimbus Chronicle, 13's enough. That is the name of a history that spans centuries, and every year there are new volumes published. Or not every year, every decade there's a new volume or so that's published. This guy is, if he is who he says he is old.
Older than me?
Yes, much older than you.
Ooh.
He has written hundreds of history volumes.
I think Tam, making that connection, kind of squints at him and goes, "All right, Master Aeronath. We'll keep it in mind."
All right, very good.
And just keep in mind, Nimble, if you betray any people on the ship that I deem was too far, I'll gut you.
Very good. Yes, I would expect nothing less from scallywags such as yourselves.
Okay, that's just a lame. Don't use that word. It's just
Yeah.
note for the history. That's
teach
like
you.
a kid word. Don't.
Yes, I'm always on the lookout to try to figure out what new vocabulary I should adopt into my.
Yeah, like that's
My
what you
writing,
call
so
like
would-
a little kid that's dipped the cat's tail in ink or something.
Do people do that?
Not quote unquote makers of history.
So he thanks you guys, and he says he'll await your decision, and he'll go head below decks. And as you guys pull into to the harbor, you see Lady Cassian is at the front of the ship, and as she steps off the three figures that I mentioned before, Lady Cassian points out to you and introduces each one. They are captains of her ships, so they report to her, and they salute her, and you guys head ashore. And as you enter this place of relative security, the sun starts to set and go down, and you find yourselves for the first time in a while in a place where, at least theoretically, you are welcome, you are safe, and I think that is a good place to end.
Oh man!
There it
Oh
is.
man! We're back! We're back! We did it! We did it!
We
We're
did
not
it.
constantly looking over our
Ah.
shoulders.
Theoretically, that's had to throw that in there, didn't you? It would seem. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's so good to play again.
I know. It's so
been
fun.
too
It's
been
long.
it's been a while.
been too long. First of all, everybody, thank you for your patience. We're glad to be back playing and making these stories for you and
Yes.
for ourselves, if we're being totally honest.
Sure.
All that to be said, we hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you stuck around long enough to hear us resume playing. And like always, if you don't mind, give us a like, a follow, a comment if you like that. Those are coming more and more frequently and are giving us great enjoyment as we read them, and just shows that we're not in a room talking to ourselves. So we really appreciate that. Even more so in a room talking to ourselves now because we're doing this remotely. So let's roll for advice. Oh, I rolled good. With the dawning of a new era, I rolled a 15.
I got a 6.
13.
Okay, I guess it's me. I think it's the first time it's been me.
Nice.
If you see a strange lizard-like dragon, be cautious about making eye contact with it.
Don't look lizards in the eye.
That's a good one.
Yeah, don't look lizards in the eye, or dragons. Not out of disrespect, but caution.
Just caution.
A little disrespect. Just a little bit.
Gotta keep lizards in their place.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This was awesome.
All right, you guys. We'll catch you later, and thanks, everybody.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.